What's going on there, YouTube, and welcome back to another comic book video. Okay, guys, so we are going to continue our coverage over the Dawn of X era of X-Men comics. Yes, we're done with Empire. Empire has been put away, and we're back to our coverage over the Dawn of X era of X-Men comics. And so with that being said, we actually pick up with Wolverine number 4. Now remember, Wolverine number 4 actually picks up where the second storyline in Wolverine number 1 left off at. Because remember, in Wolverine number 1, we had two different storylines, but the second one dealt with vampires and Omega Red. And so with Wolverine number 4, it actually picks up with the second storyline, meaning that we are going to continue the vampire storyline now with Wolverine number 4. And so picking up with Wolverine number 4, it actually picks up where Wolverine number 3 left off at. Now, at the end of Wolverine number 3, we actually saw Wolverine fight against the Pale Girl. Now, he was able to defeat her, but she got away. But he was also able to shut down her operations, which was a huge success. But the reason why we pick up with Wolverine right now being confronted by the Quiet Council is because how Wolverine acted. And what I mean is that the Quiet Council, which is a group of mutants who basically make big time decisions for the new mutant nation COPPA, the reason why they're meeting up with Wolverine is because they don't like the idea that Wolverine is not a team player. But at the same time, Wolverine does not respect the higher ranking people of COPPA. For example, Magneto and also other characters on the island. Because to Wolverine, there is no time to talk. For Wolverine, if something is wrong, it needs to be handled now. It needs to be handled at the best way possible. And for Wolverine, it's a whole lot of stabbing and a whole lot of butt kicking. But of course, you do have Charles Xavier ask Wolverine, can you please respect the nation more? But can you also work with us more? Because we're trying to keep this nation together as one. And Wolverine just walks away smiling. And the reason why he walked away smiling is because he kind of peed in Magneto's helmet as he gave Magneto's his helmet back, because Wolverine used Magneto's helmet in the last storyline. And so Magneto's helmet is basically filled with Wolverine's, urine, which is nasty, but I guess Wolverine finds it funny. Now, that is the moment we learned about Wolverine's hidden gate. Because remember, when it comes to COPPA, they have all these COPPAan gates that give mutants the ability to teleport across the world to almost any location they want to go to, as long as if there is another gate on the other side. Now, apparently, Wolverine has a hidden gate that no one else knows about. And the reason why, because when it comes to COPPA, Wolverine loves it, but he knows that something he loves is always going to be taken away from him. And so when it comes to COPPA, even though he loves the idea, he loves seeing children happy, he loves seeing all his friends happy, he knows that sooner or later, all of this is going to fall apart. And so with that, Wolverine has a hidden gate that takes him back over to Canada to a random bar so that he is able to get away, to kind of clear his mind. Now, when Wolverine arrives at the bar, of course he does his usual thing. He walks in, he goes to the jukebox, he changes the music, and then he goes over to the bartender to order a drink. And then he basically sits down at the bar to relax his mind. But that is the moment he is confronted by another guy. Now, this guy is very upset with Wolverine because Wolverine did change the music to something this guy doesn't like. And so this guy gets so upset with Wolverine, he basically tries to hit Wolverine in the head with a pull stick. And of course, it doesn't work because Wolverine's bones are basically covered in metal. And so that pull stick just broke in half. And then you have Wolverine hit the guy in the head, which of course caused a nosebleed for this random guy. And so our random character does go into the bathroom. But when he leaves, you do have Wolverine ask the bartender, hey, who is that guy? And you have the bartender tell Wolverine that he doesn't know much about that guy at all. But to Wolverine, that guy does seem very familiar. But that is the moment you do have a random police officer walk into the bar. Now, of course, this police officer is another random character, but he's freaking out. And the reason why he is freaking out because what he just saw outside on the way up here to the bar. Because right now, apparently on his way here in his car, he found a dead deer. Now, of course, the deer does look like it was eaten by another animal. But when this police officer got closer to the deer, he realized that whatever killed this deer is not human or animal at all. It's some kind of monster. And so, of course, it did scare the police officer. Now, you do have the bartender trying his best to kind of tell the police officer that he'll give him a ride back home, or basically help him get his car working again to get him to go back home. Because apparently this bartender does not want the police officer in this bar for some unknown reason. But while you have those two men talking to one another, you do have Wolverine talking to this old lady. And the reason why he is talking to this old lady is because apparently to Wolverine, she does look familiar. She does smell familiar. Now, of course, he can't remember where she came from, but he does try to talk to her, but she sounds crazy like no other. But while he is talking to her, that is the moment Wolverine begins to feel somewhat woozy, like something was put in his drink. And so, of course, he does walk away to go into the bathroom to kind of clear his mind. But while he is walking away, that is the moment there is a loud sound on the roof of this bar. And now everyone is wondering what in the world is going on the roof. But then we get another page that basically tells us that there is another group out there called the Mutant Trauma Support Group. Now, this is actually very important because this support group was made to help people who were affected by mutants, physically or mentally. And so with this support group, it is going to play a very important role in this storyline right here. But getting back to Wolverine, remember, he went into the bathroom to clear his mind because whatever he was drinking affected his mind. But when he wakes back up in the same bathroom he went into earlier, but now he has a dead person next to him. And the person who's dead next to him is the same guy we saw earlier who got upset with Wolverine when Wolverine entered the bar and changed the music. And so now that guy who went into this bathroom earlier to take care of his bloody nose has been killed. And to Wolverine, he's wondering, did he kill this guy? And why did he kill this guy? What in the world happened when Wolverine blacked out? But before he's able to actually figure anything out, that is the moment someone shoots something in the neck of Wolverine to knock him out. Now, of course, when Wolverine wakes back up, he does wake back up to the same people he saw in the bar earlier. And apparently every single one of these people in the bar are part of the mutant support group, meaning that they were affected by a mutant physically or mentally. And of course, the mutant that they were affected by was all Wolverine. That apparently Wolverine did something to every single member of this support group. And so they came together and worked together to take down Wolverine because they realized that Wolverine always came to the same bar. And so every single time he came to the same bar, they continued to work out a plan to basically get rid of Wolverine, but to learn more about him so that they can get rid of him. And so every single person here was affected by Wolverine in some way possible. Now, of course, they do have a way, or they think they have a way, to actually get rid of Wolverine. And so they do take him outside the bar. And that is the moment you do have the support group tell us what is their master plan. And their master plan is to basically freeze Wolverine to death. And not really to death because they know about Wolverine's healing factor, but they know that there's no possible way to actually kill Wolverine unless they cut his head off, but they're not going to do that. Instead, they're going to freeze him because whatever part of Canada they're in right now, it just constantly stays cold no matter what. And so with it being so cold over there, the water is always frozen. And so their goal is to freeze Wolverine forever. And matter of fact, they're about to do that until you have Wolverine realize there's somebody else here. Somebody had followed Wolverine here. And now that person is killing off people left and right. And you have this group freaking out because they're like, wait, if Wolverine is tied up, then who's out there killing our people left and right? And Wolverine knows who it is. And he's begging for help. He's like, listen, you need to let me go because if you don't, you are going to die. And that is the moment we learn that it is Omega Red. Now, this is actually the point where we are going to end today's comic book video. But before we can do that, I do want to mention a few more things. Because remember, Omega Red did appear on COPPA back in Wolverine #1. But when he did, he looked badly beaten. And so you had the people of COPPA actually believing that Omega Red could be turned into a good guy possibly. Now, Wolverine knew that nobody should trust Omega Red because he is one messed up character. But of course, you had the people of COPPA force Wolverine to figure out what happened to Omega Red. Why was he so badly beaten? Of course, it was vampires. Now, you did have Wolverine deal with some vampires, but not their leader. And their leader is no other than Dracula. But now we come to find out at the end of Wolverine #1, Omega Red had actually made a deal with Dracula. And so with all that information being reminded to you guys, at the end of this book right here, while you have Omega Red holding Wolverine underwater to freeze him to death, that is the moment we see a bunch of vampires about to walk up on Omega Red and Wolverine. Because remember, Omega Red is actually working with Dracula. And so with that, it does seem like Dracula has some master plan for Wolverine. But again, we have no idea what that master plan is. But this is where we are going to end today's comic book video. So please leave me a like down below and subscribe. Also, if you have any suggestions on books I should read, well, please let me know in the comments below because you never know, your suggestion could be a future video down the road. But guys, I'll see y'all next time. Later.